Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the Woke Bros. Of course, I'm your host, Big Was, aka Wosny Lambre, and I'm joined by my brother, man, out in Mexico by way of the Bay Area in
Yee!
California. Oh man, he said yee. Jason Myles, what's going on, brother?
What's going on? Thank you for having me. This is cool.
I'm excited to have you back with us, bro. Like you, I'm a voracious reader and watcher of the news. And by that, I mean I
Mhm.
glance the New York Times front page and I listen to my
Yeah,
favorite
that is
podcast.
exactly like me. Yes, that is literally you. That was like voracious. Oh, okay, yeah. That
I
part,
glance,
I got
I
that down.
glance the Times and I
Yeah.
listen to TIR.
Oh,
I fuck with Crystal Ball and them. There's a couple of people that I'm listening to for real, but
okay.
that's the extent of it these days, man. Because it's so depressing. A lot of this and so like repetitive. But anyway, man, we actually got some news recently that I think is right up you and I's alley.
Mhm,
Kamala Harris, the vice president, running for president now. Her and her campaign have rolled out her agenda
mhm.
for the black man in
Okay,
America.
awesome.
Uh which obviously I don't need to tell you like which black man,
Mhm,
like how old is this black man?
mhm.
What part of the country does this black man live in? Like,
Well,
several
Negroes only live in like a handful of places. Like I've been around the U.S. entirely too many times to know that there's states where if you find a black person, that is like finding Waldo.
wow, yeah.
So
I
there's
guess
that.
South Dakota is probably like that, right?
The Dakotas are pretty not black. The Montana,
Montana
Eastern
just not for
Washington.
mm,
Good luck finding black people in Oregon. There's rumors of them in Portland, but I think people mistake them for the Trailblazers.
right. And Nike and
Um,
Adidas employees.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that guy just no, he goes to the University of Washington. Stop that. That's
Yeah, and so I see this plan and automatically my guard goes up because I'm
mhm,
just like, Kamala, I think to her credit, her campaign has kind of shied away from directly addressing race in any explicit way, right? Like there
mhm.
was Trump making fun of her like for barely being black and
Yeah.
like there was these other things, but she directly hasn't been like, I'm gonna be the first black, strong black woman president. She hasn't done any of that.
No,
And I
she
think
hasn't
that's
done
to her
any.
credit, right?
Well, she doesn't
Um,
have to do anything. I think we have to
right.
remember that because of her opponent and Donald Trump, she could literally just stand there and let him
Yes.
try to fire off these racist jokes that kind of work real well against a super despised figure like Hillary Clinton, who's also like a white lady.
Yep.
And if you think about when he made that comment in front of a room full of black reporters that she's
Mhm.
not black, how offensive it was to that class of black person, especially to
Yep.
make that comment. Trump and his gimmicks don't resonate the same way against Kamala Harris that they did against, I would say, the majority of his other challengers. I don't say this as a fan of Kamala Harris.
Right.
It's more of a kind of just looking back at a strategy where you don't really have to do much um, to make Trump look silly in that regard.
Yeah, I think what she had rightly identified was that the more you push back against like the more like you react seriously to the crazy stuff that Trump might say,
Mhm.
it's like he gains in power.
Mhm.
Right? Like the more that you feed into it, like, no, I'm not low energy, Jeb. I actually have plenty of sex with my wife. It's like, bro, you can't do that.
Yeah, do
Like,
that, yeah.
it's not it's the opposite of what you want to do. And I think again, to her credit, she's been good at that. And I think the reason why I bring that up, the reason why they come out with this plan that's allegedly for black men in America, I'm just gonna guess and assume they're
Mhm.
getting bad internals. And they're like, yo, we got to put something out specifically that addresses this cohort who, for whatever reason, finds Donald Trump more appealing and the Republicans more appealing than
Mhm.
their cohort did back in 2008 and 2012 and even 2020.
I feel like they're trying to call out this there's a media narrative that's been going on probably since 2016 that more black people are moving right and looking at Trump as a viable candidate. And as more and more people are consuming their political information on the internet, there's a market for black people that are pro-Trump. And that market has a lot of hip hop people in it,
Yep.
honestly.
Oh yeah,
So
shouts
to
to
me,
Amber Rose.
wow. Um, in this regard, to me, it feels like it's a strategic plan to try to pull a a better version of Joe Biden. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Hmm.
So, in my opinion, the way I see this is okay. We're going to call out the you ain't black people who do all the black things that you want them to do. This isn't diamond and silk, and say if you're ideologically aligned with this person, then there's something wrong with your blackness.
Yep.
And we're gonna try to call that out and call it misogyny.
Yep. Well, this time it's misogyny. I'm
Mhm.
sure they'll come up with other excuses for different candidates. And I think what folks need to kind of understand is that traditionally, the Democrats would get something like 88 to 87% of the black vote. And
Yeah.
there would just be this like 11% of people who just voted Republican, right? Like that's just what it was. Then in 2008 and 2012, Barack Obama came around and he have that thing where he's getting 93%,
Yeah.
94%, which that was the unprecedented thing, right? Like where Kamala is sort of at. Well, I guess they're saying it's like 82 or something like that amongst black men. Like that's more closely aligned to the norm
Mhm.
than what Barry was doing, right? In
And
terms
and
of black support for Democratic candidates.
and don't forget Barack Obama did the exact same thing in his campaign, as far as kind of calling out these quote unquote underclass
Oh my
tropes
God. He
of
loved
blackness.
it. He loved telling niggas to pull
Yeah.
their pants up. That
Yeah.
was one of his favorite things.
And so this is a strategy that if you think about it, for them, it's proven. So when I see all these people um talking about how stupid it is, it's almost as if either they don't remember or they just didn't care about how the black vote was being thought of at that time, um, in 2012, 2008. But this isn't a new strategy. And there's tons of people in this media world that we're in, of internet kind of left-leaning media, that can't wait to throw out a bunch of underclass tropes and say, "Mm-hmm, girl, see what she said? Mm-hmm. These
Bro,
niggas
I
ain't shit." Like,
bro, I just saw a meme today. I just saw a meme today that made me want to throw my phone. And it was essentially they be loving them some red bones and some yellow bones and some swirlies until they gotta vote for one.
wow.
Said, yo,
That's what it was?
son.
Mm, hmm,
I said, wow. And so here's the thing for me too, especially because I think the Barry piece is important. That little soliloquy he gave it. By
mhm.
the way, to a bunch of dudes who are gonna vote for Kamala Harris,
Already. Yep.
that was just the most annoying thing. Like the type of person that's not gonna vote for Kamala Harris this time around is probably like a dude who cuts hair, a dude who like might be a mechanic. Like it's not gonna be no dude who ends up in a room
The
literally.
loudest people for that are against Kamala Harris, them niggas can't vote. Like,
They
like,
got F's on their record. That's a
you know what
fact.
I mean? And the same thing could be said for Trump. Like a lot of the loudest supporters for Trump, them cats can't vote.
And so, it's like the thing that killed me about it, it's like, especially coming from Obama,
Mhm,
where it's like you got unprecedented support from this demographic of people.
mhm.
And now you're questioning, and a lot of it based on he's a brother. He's a brother, and he's gonna get up in there and he's gonna do what needs to be done for us specifically. That was a lot of the messaging. This same browbeating about our sisters who take care of us, and his black scent was killing me, by the way, in that clip. But whatever. Um, You made those same arguments for your 8 years. And are they just so stupid that they didn't realize all of the great things you did for them? Are they just so dumb and so dense
Mhm.
that they can't realize why it was so awesome when they voted for you 2 times, bro? Or, or is it that you screwed the pooch? You
Mhm.
failed them. And
Mhm.
people aren't stupid. They're just not falling for the same game, bro. Y'all gotta come up with something better, something new. And it's out there that you're gonna browbeat people in terms of like their blackness as to why they're not supporting you. Is just it's insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm thinking about it from a marketing standpoint of trying to get new voters, it doesn't seem like a way to get new voters. But if I'm trying to kind of get the let out of already people that vote, then again, this is a tried and true tactic that worked
Fair.
quite well in 08 and 12. I think again, we're looking at this from the standpoint of these people are trying to get new voters, and it's just not what they want to do. They want to get people that are already registered that already vote. There's already tons of people registering and donating because of the campaign on the fear of fascism, which worked a little bit better than probably all of us thought it was going to work.
Yeah.
Um, but one thing I see that might be their Achilles heel, since again, we look at this from some sort of like, it's like sports. And I know you and I both talk about sports. And in about an hour, I'm going to be talking about sports. And sometimes you can be so in the weeds in the numbers that you forget to watch the game. And this is kind of how I feel about politics as well. Sometimes people are so in their own heads about how much they know, and they want to analyze numbers and polling data, that they don't actually talk to real people. And probably the most damning ad I've seen ran is the trans people getting the
Oh yeah.
surgery in
Oh yeah.
prison thing on Kamala Harris,
Oh yeah.
which, when you think about it, again, from the perspective of, that's the most Democrat bullshit to roll out ever, because A, how many trans people are actually in prison?
Oh my
And
God.
B,
It's so
how many people
nuts.
don't want their private parts? How many people don't ever want to have an orgasm ever again? Right.
Right.
So that's one of those things where it sounds more radical than it actually is. And that may be the damning thing that makes people go, oh, this Kamala chick might be a bridge too far.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you're struggling with your own healthcare costs, like
Yeah.
that just seems insane. Anyway, I could go on about
But that's the thing. What's going to be more damning, right?
yeah,
Them telling niggas to pull up their pants, which Bill Cosby has been doing forever.
bro, bro, 50
And it's
years.
right. And it's not like people don't still revere him as America's black dad.
Sure.
And or is it going to be this kind of Willie Horton-esque ad about this thing that isn't as prevalent as people think it is, about this thing that's not going to cost taxpayers as much money as people would like to believe it does? And I think that's way more damning than any of this other stuff, because no one gives a shit about that. Most of the voting public, they're not plugged in the way we want them to be plugged in.
Yeah, I don't think it's a plugged in thing. I think just people don't feel any difference. I just that's what the Barry thing is for me. I don't think
Mhm.
people are just like, yo, my 401k or my this or my that or my like it's just there's nothing happened. No, it's like one, nothing happened
Yeah.
for 8 years of Barry.
Mhm.
Two, when you guys told me it was gonna be the end of the world when Donald Trump became president, I lived through the shit and it was fine. Nothing happened.
COVID,
So sure, COVID, but
depending on how you COVID affected you, depending on if I guess that's about it. Depending on if COVID
it's
affected you,
just the
depending on
COVID.
if you never got your job back that he promised, right? He was going to bring all these mining jobs and factory jobs back. If that affected you, maybe you're looking at him a different way. I think a bigger factor that people also don't think about is the fact that there's so many anti-Trump Republicans
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there's this idea that, pitching to them is bad strategically. It's like, it may be bad in the grand
It's a
scheme
bad
of,
look.
yeah, like, do you really want to align yourself with Dick Cheney? That's a whole other conversation. But if we're talking about winning something here,
I don't think
there's
it's a
more of these
terrible
people we need to.
strategy. I don't think so. I just think if you're gonna be like, if they're actually trying to win, black men who are on the fence about coming out for Kamala, like this just doesn't seem like an effective way to do it. But Jerv, bring up the black agenda for me, man. The black male agenda for me, please.
The black male agenda.
Kamala's plan for the black man. That's how I pitched
word.
today's show.
How do you qualify for one of these Negro loans?
So let's go step number one. 1 million loans are going out. This is what they would like to do. Fully forgivable up to 20K for black entrepreneurs and others, which makes me understand that it's not going to be 1 million black people, but in those 1 million loans, there will be black people in there who get a government grant to try to start a business.
Look, I'd love that.
Yeah, you're a black business owner. Granted,
I would lose my shit. I'd probably move back to the States.
You've taken your wares to Mexico. I don't know if you
Claudia Scheinbaum, are you offering the same thing? I'll take it in pesos. It would be huge.
This is the one that I'm like, this is pretty nice. I actually, again, I think it's like I seen a clip floating around where Jesse Waters said this is affirmative action in disguise. I mean, this is just neoliberalism in a terrible disguise.
Oh,
it's just like the market will fix all of your problems.
This is Nixon. Nixon wanted to roll this out. 100%. Nixon got a real deal erection for black capitalism. He loved black.
He loved the idea. Like, let's bring these Negroes in, make them into people that want to exploit labor. What the fuck?
Let's get some black banks.
It's a no-brainer.
You niggers can foreclose too.
So one, just so people listening understand, there's no way they could get this shit through Congress. And even if they did, to be like, we're gonna give 1 million black people $20,000 and nobody else to start businesses, the Supreme Court.
Imagine the means testing for that, though. Let's just say it gets through. Let's just say it gets through. The means testing for that is gonna be nuts.
You got to prove that you've been homeless before.
You gotta prove that you've been black the whole time.
Yeah, your daddy once bust a cap in somebody's ass. That's the only way you get to have this loan. And again, and another part of this, and shouts to my man J. Caspian Kang. He brought this up where this is a really middle class facing item. Yeah. And in the sense that the people that are going to get these loans, y'all, are going to be people who are proximate to power. The average Negro is not going to have the first idea about how to even trying to get their hands on this money, much less being the people that actually get this thing. It's going to be motherfuckers who can get a letter on the desk of some congressperson and why their story is compelling enough that they could get this loan. And that's before the cronyism. And I don't want to be too cynical about it because 1 million loans, 1 million people getting $20,000 loans that are forgivable, I think that's pretty fucking cool, right? Not to get ultra cynical about it. That's a nice program no matter how you slice it, but I question how that's going to go. But that's, to me, it's the top item, and I think it's by far the best one.
Okay.
Next line item, we have support education training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for black men, including pathways to becoming teachers.
So they're going to get loans for college because you can go to college and become a teacher. My daughter's going to school to become a teacher.
Bro, there's already millions of pathways for black people to become teachers. New York City, I know this for a fact. Somebody in my family is pretty high up in DOE. This is a thing that's been happening for years. So this is already happening. Again, maybe I'm being too sensitive and I already have a sort of negative disposition towards the Kamala and Barack type of Negro Democrats.
Mhm.
But when I see like how I'm appealing to black dudes is like, yo, y'all need mentorship.
Big Brother programs. That's what
That
you people
seems
need.
patronizing. Is it? Am I wrong for that, Jason?
I mean, all this stuff is extremely patronizing, but you know, I want to know what exactly the support education training is supposed to be, and what are the good paying jobs that they're talking about? Are these
Well, black
apprenticeships in
dudes
the
don't need
trades?
specifics. Jason, we know this. You're a Negro. Do you ever need to know the details of anything that you want to get excited about? Don't you just need platitudes to get up and want to get out and vote?
No, I've never been this not excited to do anything before in my life. This person looked over at me at a bar the other day. I was watching football, and he goes, "Huh, you voting for Kamala?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't really care about pro wrestling." And then he just started laughing, and I just looked at him, and I'll tell you, this
Like,
is not
bruh,
serious to me.
it's not that serious. Like, it's really just not. Anyway, again, and then I just think it's kind of funny to put good paying jobs next to pathways to become teachers. I just thought that was kind of I got a
As
kick
teaching
out of
becomes
that.
more
Like, I just got a
precarious.
kick
Yeah.
out of that. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my God. All right, next bullet point
This
here.
is my favorite one so far.
Protect cryptocurrency investments so black men who make them know their money is safe. Wait, so the Negroes who are making Doge coins need to have their scams protected, or the Negroes who have already invested in crypto need to know that it's not going away? Like, I know what I think is happening with this
What
line
do you
item right
think?
here.
You think it like
I
big
think
crypto is lobbied like hard?
No, the big crypto has definitely lobbied them hard, and I think if
Mhm.
they're smart lobbyists, they've pointed out the fact that black men are disproportionately invested in the crypto. That's what's happening here
It's shocking.
with that, and two, I think this plays with the online entrepreneur crowd, like the Roland Martins and the Earn Your Leisures and those kids. This is catnip to those cats. And they're gonna get a great bump for this with that crowd. But again, even if we say, Jason, you
Mhm.
don't have to be a math major to understand this. Even if we say that black men are disproportionately invested in crypto, like they have shown a propensity to be more attracted to own Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. That's still a small amount of people. Like, how many people does this actually speak to?
I think it speaks to all the niggas in LA.
You're not wrong. You're
I'm
not
gonna
wrong
get in a
because I
fight
think
next
it's
Tuesday.
bro, the entrepreneurs
Oof.
that live out here and elite black people, like they trust me. I know them motherfuckers got a bunch of crypto wallets
Oh
and
my
all of that.
god. I don't know.
And
Is it in
then
the water there?
I don't know. But I think another big part of it,
Mhm.
Nipsey Hussle. He was a
Ah,
big crypto
gotcha.
backer, man. He
Yeah.
thought crypto was great because it wasn't, cracker owned banks and blah 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 blah. And I'm a big
Mhm.
Nipsey Hussle fan.
Mhm.
Obviously I'm not a entrepreneur minded Negro, but like that's not really the stuff that appealed to me about him.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of people that really love Nip and like really loved him because of his perceived business acumen. Like a
Mhm.
lot of these homies were like, yo, I'm gonna buy me some Bitcoin. Never mind the fact that like Goldman Sachs and all these cats, like some of the most heavily invested crypto people ever. Goldman Sachs literally founded in like 1800 something.
People love gambling, but they don't want to admit it's Vegas. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Mhm.
smart Vegas. And you can
And
feel like you're doing something important. I get it.
yes,
Dude, I get
I
it.
get the appeal of it,
I get
especially
it.
when people are selling it to you as we never got to be on the ground floor of anything.
Mhm.
And this feels like something that Black people can be on the ground floor for. I'm just like, you're not gonna buy some crypto and get like stop having to work. It's just
I mean,
not
everybody knows
gonna
someone that knows someone that
happen.
knows someone that got that, that got in just at the right time and sold off at the right time. And then it's
Bro,
like, well, we're all gonna follow that same dream.
bro, I don't know if I've ever told a story on here, but back in 2000 and it would have been like 2014, maybe 15.
Mhm.
Me and my buddies, we used to go around to basically we would party crash all of these corporate events in New York City. So
Mhm.
if like Samsung was having a party where it's like open bar and all of that, we would do try our darndest to get into these parties. We called ourselves the Open Bar Kings. And one day in our email, our Open Bar King email chain, we got sent a Bitcoin party where literally in Manhattan, matter of fact, it was in Wall Street, matter of fact, financial district, where
Mhm.
this party was. We went, it was about 12 of these folks, nice people, dressed in like khakis and button ups and stuff like that, nice ladies. And they were trying to sell us on the freaking blockchain, freaking Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And they were like, yo, this is like digital cash. Like eventually we're going to lose our ability to move money without it being on some huge ass ledger, and
Mhm.
Bitcoin is going to be the future. Like you see, and we not too far from the financial crash, and New York is still in recovery, and like they were talking a good game. But I just remember talking, I was like, wait, so the logic of this is that y'all get to hide y'all money from the government? Just from that alone, I was like, I'm out. Like this kid,
Mhm.
like this, that's the whole game. Like, that's the entire game. Like, that's
Mhm.
Uncle Sam. Like, they take your money, that your taxes direct, and when you play with them, they come and arrest you and seize your shit. Like, because they know where your shit is at all times. Like, if you mean to tell me y'all making some shit you can hide from the government, y'all just telling people this publicly, either the government's already whatever. That one part of it made me skeptical. However,
Mhm.
if we would have became true believers in 2014, boy, I was there. Like literally, they had a machine set up. Like, boy, put your card in and buy some Bitcoin right now. We would have made some
And I
nice
would not be talking to
fucking
you right now
change.
because you would be
100%.
on your plane somewhere,
Yeah, 100%. I'll be in a mafia somewhere,
just doing some weird,
weird, the
shady shit.
weirdest,
Yeah.
weirdest. I say all that to say it's over, guys. It's not the ground floor. Like the most heavily invested, the people who own the most of this shit are the
Mhm.
people who already own the most of our economy. It's over. You're done. It's kind of like anybody who's telling you differently is selling you a freaking dream. But let's move on. Launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact Black men.
White people. No, no. Fuck, man.
The illness of white people. No, like, first of all, again, like, if you're Black, you already know about like shit like prostate cancer and heart disease and cholesterol.
Mhm.
Like, this stuff already exists out in the world, but like, there you go, that disproportionately. That's their favorite shit. Proportionality. That's it.
It's kind of on the trinity of things that you get academically when people talk about race, right? Um, I get why they use, words like that. I guess my question would be, if you can roll something like this out, um, are you just going to give out pamphlets, or are you going to actually set up clinics where people can actually get these prostate exams? Because I'll be completely transparent. I don't have health care, and I'm at an age where I probably should get the old probe and the pooper, but I can't afford it. So I could try to get it done down here, and I got to hope that that guy's a doctor. But like, in all seriousness, this is a real problem, and this kind of speaks more to to your point earlier about getting these things rolled out for one specific minority of people is extremely difficult, but getting something like this rolled out for everybody probably works a little bit better, right? Because now we're talking about healthcare for everybody, and you can campaign around that. It's going to be hard to campaign around the fact that, oh, well, Negroes get prostate cancer and sickle cell. It's like, but a lot of people get prostate cancer, and a lot of men don't get checked up.
And God forbid you talk about giving everybody health care, because Kamala's already ran away from that.
Oh, very far away. She ran far away from that like 4 years ago when she was running for president.
When she had did that, because that's where the energy was in the party, her donors immediately was just like, yeah, no, Kamala, no, we're not doing that. We'd
Like, I
rather
don't
see
know
you
what this,
lose than see you do that.
because what is this program going to look like? Is it going to be like we're going to hire a bunch of people through a nonprofit
It's just
and pay them
pamphlets.
$15 an hour to run around the urban areas of the country, which is Chicago, Oakland, Los Angeles, Houston, Miami, a few boroughs in New York that still have Negroes there, and then tell them, here's a pamphlet, get your butthole scoped. Like, is that what you're gonna do? Like, I want to know what the plan is.
Yeah, and that's before we even talk about like why people are having this disproportionately, because they have bad diets because they don't got the money to eat healthier.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
lived in a food desert when I lived in West Oakland, California, and it got worse during the pandemic when more places closed that we could eat at that were halfway decent. So that's definitely a reality, but you're not going to fix these health problems with pamphlets and pointing people to where maybe the clinic is.
and last but certainly not least, legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for Black Americans to succeed in this new industry. Again, I think this is more of, again,
It's
sort
a
of
little late.
it's mega late. I think this is also, and I think, like, to be charitable, like I think a lot of people online were like, "Oh, she's trying to turn Negroes into drug dealers." I don't think it's that. I think it's like Black people have disproportionately suffered the effects
Yeah,
of, the prohibition of marijuana in terms of
yeah.
prison sentences and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So wouldn't it be nice for some restorative justice that we let them get in on the ground floor on the legalized marijuana opportunity? I mean, even this for me, like, I get what the direction her heart's in, but it's like, are we going to allow these things to be like co-ops where like 10 of these Negroes could own this shit?
Oakland rolled that out years ago. God, how many years ago was that? Maybe 5-6 years ago. Oakland rolled out something like that said if you had a felony for marijuana, there were certain kinds of dispensaries you can have, and there's a certain ways you could be involved in, the legal marijuana industry with a felony. And if they're trying to roll out something like that, it's already been tried. I think at this point, the marijuana industry just ain't what it used to be. And
Yeah.
go up north. I don't know if you guys have been covering some of the stuff that's been happening up north, where just the value is gone. All the people I knew that used to trim, they're all out.
Wow.
It's
Was just
the
cheaper
weed
than
is
ever to have weed.
super, super cheap. And so many states have opened up the ability to grow.
Got you.
And you
Yeah.
have, big money involved in this now.
Yeah. And
That's
they're gonna
game
big
changing.
money you out of the freaking
Out of
market
yeah.
all day. I mean, in New
All day.
York, something a little different has happened. It hasn't necessarily just been the big money,
Mhm.
but like the Middle Eastern shop owners, instead of going out and applying for permits, have just been like, we're just turning our shit into a weed store.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's just like
There
it's
you
just a
go.
bunch of cats with non-permit weed stores, and weed buyers aren't going to be like, I'm going to go to the certified Negroes weed store to make sure I get my Black-owned weed.
Buy
Niggas is
black.
like,
That's the next ad. If that's the next ad campaign that the Harris campaign thinks is going to be the winner, which is like
Buy
the buy
black.
black weed,
Yeah, buy black.
sure.
Nah, the Middle Eastern cats who already had storefronts,
Mhm,
a lot of these places, like they changed them out from groceries to
mhm.
just straight up smoke shops. Like we just sell
Word,
weed out of this shit now.
word.
You know what I'm saying? And that, like, New York tried to get some black people and Latinos at the front of the line. And it's like all of that bureaucracy is happening.
Mhm.
And then these other people are just like, bro, weed's legal. Cops not gonna arrest us for selling this. We selling it out of our store now. License or
I'm
not.
assuming that New York is kind of like how California was a long time ago. God, probably like 20 years ago.
No, it's
Where,
not even medicinal it's just straight up recreational.
yeah, well, there was oh God, how many years ago was that? Where I think it was Kamala was like, we're not prosecuting marijuana offenses.
Mm.
So if you catch
Yeah, yeah,
somebody with
yeah.
weed,
Nah,
you're
yeah.
not
New York is
prosecuting.
not prosecuting marijuana anything.
Yeah.
And
So
so
if they had
yeah.
anything else on them, you were going down. But if you just had a bunch of weed on you, it was like, man, not
It's
prosecuting.
just weed,
Let him
you
go.
know. But yeah, again, I just feel like this feels very haphazard. It's just like
It's almost stereotypical,
it's
kind of offensive.
crypto and weed. We gonna get y'all niggas on crypto and weed, boy.
Isn't
We
that what
gonna,
you people like?
bro. We gonna make y'all gonna be selling NFT do rags, boy. We got you right where we want your asses, boy. I
If
tell
you
you,
vote for
boy.
Kamala, you get a ticket to Rolling Loud. It's like, is that where we are right now? Come
Oh
on.
my God.
Isn't
Vote
that what
for
you people like?
Kamala. First class ticket to Essence Fest. I swear to God. I'm telling you, my girl just looked at me like, you better stop. I swear to God,
It's
they will be bringing out the
watermelon
vote,
policy.
y'all. I tell you that,
It
y'all.
it feels like this is how much I don't care about you people. That's how I feel. Like I don't really have to have any sort of plan. If you just think 4 years ago, and I've been talking about this a lot on my show. If you think about 4 years ago and how much we've changed from 4 years ago, even leading up to what happens with the George Floyd protests, there's this moment where we're becoming more alive to the fact that mass incarceration was a failure.
Mhm.
And when the George Floyd stuff happens, with all the other things that had happened around the same time, all these people are saying we have to make police accountable and social justice and yada yada. And Negroes got paid. Everybody got paid. And you got the black movies on Netflix when you log in right away, and Amazon. Everybody wanted to point you to a Negro movie. Oscars so white. Oscars so white. It's not like the last Oscars wasn't so white.
A
But
couple niggas got to be involved. Yeah.
even those, that was the whole thing about the original Oscars so white. You only give a token of us this opportunity. Okay, well, you got a movie like American Fiction, which I have a lot of problems with because that book
Yeah.
is amazing. But let's just say that movie won some awards. No one talks about it. Nobody cares anymore. We don't care. We have rolled back the goodwill that was made in 2020, and now we're all the way back to the 80s and 90s with tough on crime rhetoric
It's
in
amazing.
blue cities, quote
It's
unquote.
amazing. I mean, Eric Adams,
Oh,
he's the tough on crime king, and
let's
he's
let's
about
let's
to.
think about, no, seriously. In major cities where there's tons of Negroes, where all these protests were burning everything down, you got Eric Adams, London Breed, Karen Bass, right?
Yep.
And all these people,
Atlanta always has a black mayor, so that doesn't
Atlanta,
count.
niggas,
Niggas always getting the goddamn mayor.
business leaders.
Yeah, man.
But when you think about just those cities right there, the amount of tough on crime regulation you're getting, the rollback of certain protections that were in place originally, because we found that maybe locking people up for these petty offenses doesn't work. Maybe having the cops in the schools doesn't work. Now you're seeing all of that change in just 4 years. So for me, that's why when I saw people kind of make these comments about what Kamala's saying about Negroes, I'm like, y'all ain't gave a fuck about niggas in 4 years. Once Joe Biden got in office and everybody got their George Floyd money, then giving a fuck, and the thing went away on your Netflix for the black movies.
It was
It was
over. Oh
done. It
yeah,
was
it was
done.
over.
Everybody won.
It was
Everybody won.
over.
You got
Yeah,
kente cloth. Everybody won.
and we got to get you out of here. But I just remember, it was, man. I gotta find this fucking clip because I forget who Cornel West was talking to. And it was in the midst of like every corporation with some black this and black that and hitting the streets and black and he black and a black. And Cornel West was like, listen, man, ain't nothing good gonna come out of this for normal, everyday black people. But you know who is gonna be good for? He said, the black bourgeoisie.
You know,
He
Cornell,
predicted it, dude. He
but
predicted
look at how
it.
much money was handed out during that
So
George
much.
Floyd summer when all those major companies said we're going to pledge all this money to all these black businesses. I think it's something like 50 billion. Google it. You know, it's a ridiculous
50
amount of money
billion
that
is
was handed out. I think it's even more than
crazy.
that. And
Oh my
what
God,
did you,
dude.
and if you, again, what did
we
we get from it when we didn't get any kind of like housing? We didn't get any
No.
rent regulations.
No.
No new jobs got
We didn't even
created.
get police reform for the most part.
Nothing. I think 3 police departments out of 100 and
Yeah.
something actually got defunded.
Mhm.
And now what you're getting is a lot of police departments, and you're in Los Angeles. That's actually an area that is hurting when it comes to not having enough cops. So
We've come full circle, folks.
it's
I love when we can end on a happy note, Jason. It means a lot. It means a lot. I want to shout you out for coming on, man. Right before your show, This is Revolution. Make sure y'all check that out on YouTube, man. These guys are my favorites on the online left. I know you hate that term, but like, in terms of
call
like,
me. Yeah, that's fine, dude.
in
There's
terms of
worse things you could say. Don't forget, I'm going to be in LA with
yes, I'm gonna
with
see
my
you
buddy
next
Ben Burgess.
weekend. I mean, next week, excuse me.
Yeah,
With
Tuesday.
our guy Ben Burgess.
Yeah, I'm super
In
stoked.
Silver Lake, Echo Park.
Where is it? No, North Hollywood. Sorry, North Hollywood.
Oh, North
in the
Hollywood.
valley.
I just assumed it was gonna be at one of them spots with the
I
white
thought
people with
so
natural
too.
deodorant, man. So I just assumed it would be one of
Nah,
those.
we're
You
gonna
know what I
be with
mean?
like people
Aluminum
that
free
were on.
deodorant.
We'll be with people that were like in the on certain episodes of like 227 and shit. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah, North Hollywood these days, believe it or not, is a lot of like up and coming Instagram honeys and people like that. Like it's like a haven.
I would
for that
be
out there.
beyond stoked if any of them wanted to come to a
Oh,
book launch for 4 essays on Palestine.
we'll run a Facebook ad, see if we could capture them.
That would be like the most awesome shit ever. Maybe put a picture of Ben on with Joe Rogan, so they think he's like a bigger
Let's go. He's
celebrity
got some
than he is.
cachet.
Right? You're like, oh,
Facts.
this guy was on with Joe Rogan. Let's go get our Instagram picture with the Joe Rogan guy. I just want to see if
Facts.
that works, because if that works, oh man, that's my next essay is going to be on LA and
Let's do it.
subculture of Instagram models.
That was our show. Shouts to producer John Gervais on the ones and twos. Make sure you become a Patreon at patreon.com/countthedings. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out, y'all.
Peace. Thank you.